Good day, everyone. This is Sydney Lefofe of SL Podcasts. I'm very excited again today to be sharing information with you, the information that is meant to change your life and make you better. We are on another exciting topic today. Deal with your negative mental attitude before it attracts troubles. It is very important for us to understand that many people have relegated their lives to fate. A lot of people assume that it takes luck to have breaks in life. Many people are not intentional about anything. They are not intentional about the things that they process with their minds. They are not intentional about the information they get. They are not intentional about what they discuss on a daily basis. These are the things that we have observed. We need to be aware that everything we process on a daily basis, these are the things that clog up our minds. These are the things that crowd our thinking abilities. And at the end of the day, we realize that we have negativity in everything that we are trying to process and in everything that we are trying to do. A lot of people's lives are negative. Whatever they say, it has a negative connotation in everything. We really need to process these things and we need to talk about it because it is important for us to realize the things that can hamper us from getting to the places we want to get to. It is no secret that failure stories are more than the success stories. We need to be aware of these things and we need to appreciate that a lot of failure stories are out there and we talk about them and we discuss them every day. And if we are to go by the Pareto principle of 80-20, we can safely say, or we can conclude to say 80% of the people are failures and only 20% of the people are the people that are actually doing well in life. But to tell the truth, this is an understatement because the figures are a little bit higher than 80%. The failure rate is a little bit higher. And these are the things that we process every day. The failure rates usually are our point of reference. We talk about how many people have failed. We talk about how many people are in trouble. We talk about the negative things that are happening, or more than we can talk about the good things that are happening. More than we can talk about the success stories, so which are out there. These are the things that an ordinary person discuss, and these are the things that form the pattern of our discussions. What we see and what we are exposed to, what we hear about, what makes headlines in our daily news and all that, these are the things that dominate our minds. And these are the things that shape up our thinking patterns. We need to be aware of that. And unfortunately, whatever we process with our minds, whatever we discuss most of the time, it is taken and it is stored in our subconscious mind as if it is the truth. It doesn't matter how distorted it might be. It appears as if it is the truth, and our minds will process it as if it is the truth. Any other truth will be secondary. That's why it is very important for us to talk about topics like this, because we need to really take care of what we process. Because if it can be stored in our subconscious mind, we don't have control much on how we perceive things, because the mind will be processing things automatically. We'll be perceiving things from the subconscious mind where we don't have much control. We can safely say we are shaped up by the dominant things or the dominant information that we process with our minds. And at the end of the day, those are the things that shape up our lives. It is very important for us to realize that we cannot be casual with what we hear. We cannot be casual with the things that we process with our minds. We just can't be casual, because these are the things that shape up our lives. These are the things that get us going. Whether we go into negativity or positivity, these are the determining factors. And we can't be casual. We can't be casual with the things we see every day. We can't be casual with the things we hear every day. And we can't be casual with the things we expose ourselves to, the discussions we expose ourselves to, because these are the things that will shape up our thinking patterns. And our thinking patterns obviously influence our decision-making patterns. Our daily news are dominated by negative social ills, failing human behaviors. These are the things that are dominating the headlines of the news every day. The failing systems. These are the things that are reported every day. Unfortunately, the things that we hear on a daily basis, whether it's from the news or is from what we read in newspapers and all these things, 99% of the time they are negative things. It's only a few percentage that we can get something which is positive, and that can motivate us to have a positive thinking and all that. So we really need to be intentional about our minds and the state of our minds. Unfortunately, what dominates our discussions and our thinking processes, these things are processed in our minds. We discuss these things and they dominate our thinking processes, and they shape up everything concerning us. They shape up the way our brains work. Like I said, these things are stored in the subconscious mind. The conscious mind is where we can process things and we make decisions. And the subconscious mind is the driving force of everything. And if some of these things, perverted and obscured as they can be, are stored as if they are the truth, we process them and we make decisions based on that. And if we have stored wrong information and negativity in our lives, obviously everything we think and everything we process will be from the negative side of life. According to the setup of our minds and thinking patterns, we see trouble everywhere. Everything is not okay because of the things we have stored in our subconscious mind. We really need to understand why everything is distorted, why our conversations are not productive. They always have a lot of negativity around it, because this is how our minds have been wired, because of the negative information, the negative exposure that we have processed in our minds and with our lives. We need to be aware of these things. And like what Napoleon Hill said, the individual with a negative mental attitude attracts troubles as a magnet attracts steel filings. This is the truth that we need to process, and we need to be aware of these things so that we can work on them And so that we can understand. As long as we have negative mindsets and we have negative mental attitudes, we are going to attract trouble. We cannot live or attract good things when we have negative mental attitude. And maybe it is time to retrospect and see why our lives are negative and why we are always attracting trouble and bad associations. Maybe it's because we have a negative mental attitude which has been built over years. So, and for us to process things and to attract good things, something has to give in, something has to change. And that's what we are talking about today. We need to be cognizant of the fact that somehow we bring into physical existence what we process with our minds. We attract things that are part of our thinking patterns. And like I said, we make decisions based on the information that we have stored in our minds. If we are all negative and everything is not okay in the world, and there are no good people anymore, and there are no good things going on, unfortunately, we are going to attract all these negative things. We are going to attract trouble because our way of thinking is all inclined to trouble. And having a negative mental attitude is not the end of the world anyway. So we can't say when somebody has a negative mental attitude, it is the end of their lives. The same way you acquired the negative mental attitude is the same way you can reverse the process. We have to be aware of this thing. We can reverse the process by being intentional about everything. Being intentional about what you expose yourself to. Being intentional about what you hear and your association, the people you associate with. Because if every time we have to be talking about negative things, how other people are bad and why the prices are going up, why life is getting very complicated and uncomfortable. All these things are negative things. But we can talk about how we can process everything, how we can improve our businesses, how we can improve our lives. These are the things that we can choose, and we can be intentional about all these things. And if we are not going to be intentional, unfortunately, the negative mental attitude will continue, and it will keep on attracting trouble to us. And we'll be processing trouble after trouble after trouble, because that's how we attract things to us. We don't need to deceive ourselves to think that we can expose ourselves to all these negative things and we are spared of the negative mental attitude. We will just be deluding ourselves to think you can be around bad people, you can be around bad information, we can hear a lot of negative things, and you are spared. A lot of us, we think we can beat that. Unfortunately, some of these things, they shape up your thinking patterns. And if you are not intentional about getting out of negativity, you are going to remain there. And it doesn't matter how many times you say you are not negative, your life will show. Because we look at the results in your life. If your life is a mess, there is something wrong. And it's as simple as that. And it doesn't matter how many times you can lie to yourself, because a lot of people lie to themselves so much that they believe that lie. Even when everything is not okay, they will say, I am okay and I'm doing well. But you are not doing well. And you know in your heart that you are not doing well. You don't need to lie about it. You just need to admit some of these things and you process them. If at all you want your life to change, you can process some of these things and then you can get to reverse the process, because it is possible and it is doable. And it is an open fact that we are a sum total of our associations. What we associate with, the people we hang around with, the information we expose ourselves to, and all that. You are just a sum total of that. And those are the things that, like I said, they shape up our thinking patterns. They shape up our thought processes. They shape up our decision-making processes. Because at the end of the day, we will see ourselves getting into trouble because we will be attracting the things that we process with our minds. And it is very important for us to be aware of these things and to be intentional about changing and getting yourself out of the mess. Because at the end of the day, it is your life we're talking about here. And if you are not careful, your life will be a mess and a total mess. And it takes a fight and hard work to get to and maintain a positive mental attitude. You have to be intentional about it, and you have to work hard. You have to get yourself to the right associations. You have to get yourself to the right places. And at the end of the day, you can be there and you can change everything about yourself. And if you go into another mode of positive mental attitude, you are going to attract good things to you. It takes an intentional cleanup campaign, and this thing is doable. You can expose yourself to good information, motivational speeches, motivational books, people who are working very hard to change their lives, people who are into business and they are processing everything every day to improve and to scale up. These are the things and the people that we need to associate with. And these are the people that can give us a chance to reverse the process and we get to positive mental attitude. It is important to note that there are patterns that majority of the people are inclined to. And it doesn't necessarily mean these things are good things. They are in those things because everybody is doing it. And it doesn't necessarily mean because everybody is talking about something and some of these things are fashionable. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to process it also. Because at the end of the day, like we said, according to Pareto, 80% of the people are failures. And like I said, the numbers are staggeringly even higher than that. And if we are going to go with the masses, unfortunately, we are going to be part of the 80%. And if we want to be part of the people who are successful, we need to think and decide, and we need to be intentional about some of these things. Many people are comfortable in malfunctions and in destructive behavioral patterns because those are the easier things to do. And those are the things that will give you satisfaction for now. And these are the things that will give you thrills for now. But at the end of the day, some of these things are not sustainable. You can be fashionable now, but time will catch up with you and you realize you have wasted time and you have wasted resources. And you could have done things that will make you important and valuable in the future. And at the end of the day, your life will show. Things may look okay now, but you'll be found out with time. Life will put you where you are supposed to be, and you will realize that you have accumulated a lot of negativity over the years, and it will catch up with you. It doesn't necessarily work in a long run, but many people don't look ahead. They are just here. As long as they are happy now, it's all good. But at the end of the day, this is life. And life is not a sprint. Life is a marathon. You don't need to destroy your tomorrow because of your actions today. Because at the end of the day, if you are going to do some things that will cut your limb or something like that, you realize that you need the full body tomorrow. And unfortunately, what you did today hampered what you could be enjoying. But it is very important to note that we need to change and transform into what we want our lives to pan out to be and all that. We really need to understand that we need to change. We need to process these things properly. We need to put life into perspective and realize that our lives can change and we can get to better. We can do things differently. We can process things differently. Our minds need to change and accommodate the new ideals and the new thinking patterns and the new attitudes so that we can come to a place where we can occupy the spaces of eagles, high flyers. We can get to a place where we can fly higher and soar with eagles when our attitudes are positive, when we process things properly. And like I said when I started, the same way we acquire the negative mental attitude is the same process we are going to acquire the positive mental attitude. It is very important for us to understand that. And we are concluding by saying goodness can be our portion if our minds can serve us right. It is critical for us to understand that we can attract good things. As much as we were talking about negative mental attitude, attracting trouble and negative things, we can get to goodness. We can get to attract good things that we want in our lives by a positive mental attitude. This thing should be intentional. And we need to come to a place where we clean up the clutter. We unclog ourselves. We purify our minds and our thinking processes. That will definitely affect our decision-making processes, and that can attract the goodness or the good things to come to our lives and shape everything about us. We can succeed if we could take care of our minds. This is what we really need to come to, and we need to understand this, and we need to process it properly. We can succeed if our minds are in the right places. If we can have positive mental attitude, we can succeed in anything that we want to do, because we'll be processing things and attracting the good things. Our thinking patterns can change if we could be intentional about it. Some things happen. To acquire negative mental attitude, you don't need to do anything. You just need to be alive and to associate and all that. But if you want a positive mental attitude, you have to be intentional about it. You need to process and make decisions every day to say, I want to be in the right places with the right people, and I want to open or expose myself to the right things that can contribute to the positive mental attitude that I desire. These things should be intentional. If our minds can be okay, they will serve us right. And if we can have positive mental attitude, we will definitely attract good things. If we want good things to dominate our life story, we know what to do. We just need to take care of our minds and the way we process things. We just have to say, do away with the negative mental attitude, and we say we are welcoming the positive mental attitude. Thank you.